Good morning. Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We come to you celebrating a hot day. A day.
It's
a
not
day with no rain.
This day doesn't stand for.
I got the humor in it, finally. I got the humor in it. And I know you don't know what we're talking about, but before the show, Drive Safe Dave was laughing at a drought that the farmers are having.
I never mentioned farmers. I said it has been hot.
Why would you laugh about that?
Why would I? No one mentioned farmers. I was laughing about the situation, how, there can be funny ha-ha, and there can be funny strange. There are different many definitions to the word, and how we interpret those words can make a big difference on how we feel about them.
All right, Drive Safe. Let's start this day over.
Okay.
Can we just start it over? Let's start it on a positive note, much like the beacon of light. Sir Rick
oh, my God. Are you positive?
I am positive. All right, here we go. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Idaho.
Idaho who?
Idaho, who is going to fact check you from yesterday. Here's what I got.
What is this dude talking about?
Here we go. Yesterday you talked about, and we have film of it. Can you have a clip
right,
of
we got
this
a fact
real quick?
checker. Come on, fact checker. How to do it? If you can change something for 28 days, specifically change something, they call that a new habit.
Pause it. Stop it right there. Now we've heard that right there, said many times over the last probably month.
Okay.
And you were consistent in it. You obviously meant it right there.
I did.
But last night, I had something said, you know what? I have a feeling Drive Safe Dave's just making some numbers up. I did a little fact checking myself, and what do we have here, producer?
All right.
What does that say there? It says on average 58 days is what it says for that habit to form. On average, 58 days.
And your source?
It's every source.
I just want to see that source. That's Rick Larkin play with.
Promise you it's not.
What is that? Publisher? Are you using that?
I challenge you out there to go do that. Everything.
Publisher.
I looked at it myself. I said, you know what? There's got to be something that says 28.
I tell you what,
nowhere in the thing did it say 28.
Really, I'll tell you what. I'll bring footnotes. I'll bring footnotes, and I'll bring stuff. Actual resource material instead of some cool publisher thing that I did.
I started off with a knock-knock joke here. Now, my question is,
that solidifies it as qualified information.
Was that fact, or did you make some of that up?
I did not make any of it. I've heard that many, many times.
You've heard it from yourself,
no,
perhaps.
Not all.
So listen, at 28 days, if you still haven't got that habit, hey, guess what? Most of us don't. You know what? Keep going. It's like 56, 58 days. I can't remember what it is. But somewhere around there, I wanted to make sure that we got that out. Sir? 66. Yes, 66 days.
666 guys. Is that what y'all are going with now? That's evil. That is so evil.
I don't know. Yesterday you put Jesus way down low on your love list, and now you're talking 666. Hey, let's talk about the intersection there on your shirt.
This is a public information sign.
That road between two highways that you're not supposed to take. Talk to us about that.
This is a public information sign. A lot of signs out there on the road you'll notice are indicated in blue, and they'll also areas of public interest. One is a hospital, and the reason I put this one on my shirt is because sometimes you'll see that by itself on other signs. It'll just have an H somewhere either listed on a green sign, it can be on a white sign, but sometimes it'll be on a different sign. However, you'll also see, when you're driving down the road, you'll see blue signs. They'll also have like restaurants coming up, or their gas stations coming up at the next exit. You'll be driving down the highway, and it'll have interest information that you might need, or even public parking will be on a blue sign with a big P. Anyway, that's what these are, blue sign information signs. This stands for hospital.
And I'm not saying look it up, but let's just pretend he's right now.
Wow.
No need to fact check Drive Safe Dave on that. I'm going to go with you on that. Drive Safe, when you see two roads like that and that, are you supposed to take that emergency road exit?
If it is.
Because this looks like I am. It's not saying do not take it.
It is not saying do not use that. On an interstate, you're typically not allowed to take the emergency access in the middle of the highway. Yeah.
All right, so we had a tourist up in world news today. We had a tourist fall inside
I
of.
saw that. It was on the national news last night, and then it made our news today. I'm surprised that we didn't get it first.
Talk to us about it, Drive Safe.
A tourist basically fell into Mount Vesuvius during a going up, went around the turnstiles, and then went up a non-path with his family. Went up there to take pictures, and dropped his phone and tried to reach down and get it, and then slid down the inside the volcano.
Yeah, fell down, went down, he's going to have charges pressed against him and his family for trespassing, going places they weren't supposed to go, trying to get that all elusive photo. Don't do that. If you're at a place that says do not enter, much like the signs that Drive Safe Dave will wear throughout, you don't do it, you don't enter, you don't go that way. Listen, even when you're on vacation, safety is important.
And the phone is not worth your life. I'm just going to go out there.
I don't know.
No. It's not worth your life.
Let me tell you something. If you fall down a cave or a cavern or something like that, volcano, it wouldn't hurt to have a phone in case nobody else was there. Then it could be worth your life. I'm just saying,
where his family was just going to sit there and watch him and then walk away. I mean,
you've seen.
There went Dad. All right, that was a great trip. We're on our way. It's just like vacation.
All right, what about Elon? Let's talk a little Elon. He, he's got a big
explosion.
A big trip planned, right?
What?
And one of the booster things, one of the booster engines explodes.
Yes, too much.
Explodes. He puts on there the first time. He's like, hey, it's just normal wear and tear.
Controlled explosion.
Yeah. Nothing crazy going on here. Nothing happened over here. Carry on. Just walk on down the road. Turns out it wasn't, Drive Safe Dave. It was a little bit more serious as an explosion
he erased
usually
that tweet.
is.
He erased that tweet.
Yeah. It was an explosion. Explosions are a little different.
Are they going to ban him from Twitter? Are they going to ban? Do you ban that guy from Twitter because he pulled back on the account? I mean, should he have a tweet?
Well, they're suing him right now. I mean, is he officially out? I mean,
yeah, he said I'm done. He said I'm pulling out. Wow. I'm not. They lied to me about. They cannot give me the exact number of people that are on Twitter.
And it's that. What is that called? It's not called ghosting. It's called. What is that called? What they do?
Bots. Those are bots.
Yeah,
right?
bots. It's those. It's that fake things. It's like Drive Safe Dave when he says he's got many friends.
Yeah,
you know what?
I got bots.
Yeah, they're bots. You know what? And we all have those things right there. But Twitter, it's full of them, Dave. And I agree with him on that. You know what? That's not what I asked to buy, especially after I find out the value is not that good.
Right.
I'm out. I'm finding a way out. That's his way out.
Yeah, I don't know, and they say that in the courts that he may lose some of that case, but I think they'll settle somewhere between $1 and $54 billion. So that's what I listened to the other news the other day. Well, they're probably going to settle between $1 and $54 billion. I was like, that's a pretty big range.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, what about Mr. Deep Draper? Deep Draper. Are you a follower on Twitter? He's got 3,300 fans on Twitter that follow him, or Snapchat, one of the two, TikTok, one of those things that I don't use. He walks out of his job.
I saw that. Damien Draper.
And he has but it's at something is his name. Yeah, sorry, David would have known if I'd have said Damien Draper. Is that the difference?
At DDraper23.
Oh, Damien. I didn't know you were talking about Damien.
I didn't
know. We
have
3 stories here to talk about. Damien walks out, he has vacation denied, right? Mm-hmm. Nope, you can't take vacation. Here he is right now. He tweets or TikToks himself dancing, walking out of the place, quits on the job on the spot, saying, you know what I have right now, my TikTok stuff or whatever, my other job, it's making me a lot more money than this job. Walks out, Dave. 400-something thousand viewers of that. What are your thoughts on that? You like the strategy or don't like the strategy?
I don't like the strategy. Why? I mean, first of all, HR, get a hold of HR, follow the process. There's probably a process involved, and if it doesn't work out, put in your time, put in your 2 weeks notice, do the thing you're supposed to do.
I'm going to say this for the young viewers out there, for people that are perhaps thinking of doing the same thing, getting on your Twitter. Maybe you got your TikTok right now, and you're sitting in your truck or you're sitting somewhere and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to make me a TikTok and just quit. Let me tell you something. Never burn a bridge. Big believer in that.
I agree, too.
You don't know what's going to happen. Do it the right way. If you were going to quit and upset things, I'd say maybe you do it when it happened 2 weeks ago, perhaps a week ago. Go to HR. Find other ways. Drive Safe Dave, when we're out there on the road, let me tell you something. When we're this electronic, let's talk drivers for a second. You know, the messaging system that we have now, the different ways that we use to communicate, email. Boy, alive, do we come across the wrong way. We get a little bit more brave. We do things on social media that we would never do in person. And when the dispatcher is dispatching, and they type something in because you're running late, boy, watch what you say, because it can be read in a different way. Right. Social media, texting, all of those things, they really are dangerous, and they can change somebody's mindset pretty quick and turn them from a safe situation perhaps to an unsafe situation. I'm referring to the driver. How they read that text, that message, that dispatch, that email, whatever that is, how they read it, they put voice inflections, just like we do, right? In places that maybe you didn't mean to. Maybe you meant to, but perhaps you didn't mean to. How they read that can make the difference. Do they stay with your company? Do they drive unsafe? Do they now drive angry? Do they say, you know what, forget it, come pick your own load up, I'm out of here? All of these things can happen. Watch how you text, how you type, how you do your social media. And my God, I'm going to say this, don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to talk to somebody.
Yeah, you have an opportunity, because I think emails sometimes come across snarky. I think things come across in a different light. You read it, and especially when the person reads it, it's how they perceive it, and that's the reality. I mean, it's not always maybe what its intention is.
I just said that.
Yeah, I mean, but also it has to do with the attitude of the person at the time when they read it. I mean, it can be perceived differently. I guess I just reiterated what Sir Rick said in a different way. God forbid we do that on this show. We actually say the same thing more than once.
Some copyright. You're like taking my stuff,
do you
just
have
like
a
you took my
copyright?
Glasses, like that part right there.
That is a Ratio
You
K
tend to
move.
do that.
Years
All
before
I'm
you even
saying-
wore a pair of glasses.
All I'm saying is that's just what happened. Hey, listen, we have an interview coming up. We're going to hop on the interview. We have Mr. Alex from not Enid, Oklahoma, Stillwater, Oklahoma. We're going to talk to Alex in just a second. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more BCB Live.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityprowear.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
All right, and we're with more BCB Live and Drive Safe Dave. We have Mr. Alex Larson. Alex, hey, welcome to the show. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Man, it is good to have you here. You know what? Let me tell you something. From me to you, it's always good to have another safety brother out there on the road, watching the road, watching safety, that passion for safety. Alex, talk to us a little bit about your company and where that passion for safety comes from.
So, I am the owner and lead consultant for DEC Freight Solutions. We focus on safety, but we help with compliance as well. Safety came to me. Safety has always been extremely important to me. I've seen way too many fatality wrecks, and sorry, apparently I got something in my throat.
Oh, you're okay, sir.
I've seen way too many fatality wrecks through my time in law enforcement and fire and EMS whenever I was younger. Ended up on the road driving, and I've just seen way too many wrecks since then. And the number of people we're losing, the amount of money that comes out of a wreck because people are paying attention to their phones or speeding to try to hurry up and get somewhere. That all became problematic to me, and I wanted to do something to help encourage safer driving and eliminate fatality wrecks, if not all wrecks altogether.
So, and as we talk about this, I just want to make sure, as a police officer, you were out there at the actual scenes working accident scenes, right? I mean, you were doing those and talking to the people involved and seeing some of the great carnage, correct?
Yes. Yeah, there were a few of them I have actually witnessed firsthand, like while it was happening. So it played a big role in that.
Hey, talk to me a little bit about taking your experience and how you use that to help maybe the owner operator or that smaller carrier become more successful in that compliance, in safety, in that aspect.
So right now, the two biggest costs in the trucking industry is going to be your fuel and insurance. By slowing down and not using your brakes as much, by not following too closely, uh, you will reduce your fuel cost, but if you it will also reduce your insurance cost. If you turn in your uh, e-log information to your insurance provider, it actually lowers the insurance cost as well. Those are two big ways in today's society, in today's market, that you can cut down on cost just by driving a little bit safer.
Hey, what are some common maybe mistakes or common issues that this smaller carrier, the independent contractor, they have today?
A lot of the smaller carriers aren't big on using e-logs. They're not big on using a lot of the newest safety devices. They feel like they are a safe enough driver, and for a lot of our owner operators, they are. A lot of our owner operators, they care about their equipment, they care about the industry, and they want to better the industry.
Hey, what are your thoughts?
But
You bring that up real quick. What are your thoughts on the independent contractor that has perhaps that, maybe it's a truck that's 5 or 7, 8 years old. They believe that they are safe and very safe, and they probably are. What's your thoughts on the newest technology in the trucks for an owner-operator that really does help them, that has all the sensors, Dave? We're talking the following too close, the lane departure, the cameras,
Collision avoidance
collision
system.
avoidance, the cameras in
Passive.
the truck that does that coaching that reminds them that perhaps they're following too close. What are your thoughts on that versus the independent contract that believes that what they do, because they've never had an issue, never had an accident, how do you fight that or talk to them about that, or what's your thought process on that?
so all the modern technology is very beneficial. They have done really good at making our trucks safer. Um, Unfortunately, along with that technology, it has allowed some of the drivers who jump in it to be a little bit less attentive, because it has encouraged them. They know that if they're leaving their lane, they will hear a buzz and they'll be able to readjust. Uh, my only problem with the lane departure is it very easily will get off track and will buzz when you're in the middle of your lane. If it picks up something like, it'll go off if it picks up tire tracks in the middle of the road or something like that. Or if you're in a construction zone and there's paint from other areas. So it can get a little bit annoying and it irritates drivers. And with that, it makes those drivers a little bit more reckless because they're irritated and frustrated with that. So I feel like the technology is great. I don't think a lot of the owner operators aren't going to want that particular piece of technology. The following distance one, that is extremely important to me. I think that a lot of owner operators, a lot of drivers all the way around can benefit from the following distance.
Have you
It's
had any?
easy to do what?
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, what about dash cams? Forward-facing cameras, and how they're being applied. Have you seen? Can you kind of walk me through how you talk and what your feelings are first on dash cams, forward-facing cameras, and then how you talk a driver or owner-operators into getting those.
I think both the forward and rear-facing dash cams are very beneficial. The rear-facing dash cam, when you're doing what it's supposed to be doing, it will do nothing but save your butt in a fatal wreck. So I have always been a firm believer in dash cams. They are going to be useful if somebody tries to cut you off and they want to try to blame it on you. They jump in front of you, slam on the brakes. I've had that happen to me several times, mostly out in Atlanta. I've had one incident where I was working for a major carrier, and I had a forward and rear facing dash cam in my truck, and it saved me from a at-fault accident. Somebody was trying to merge into my lane with me in my lane. They hit the side of my truck and trailer, and it showed that I was not on my phone. It showed that I was in my lane like I was supposed to, and it had kept me from an at-fault accident. So it's very beneficial in my opinion.
How do you talk owner operators that are hesitant into getting those?
I'll just explain the benefits to them. I mean, some owner operators just aren't going to want them, unfortunately.
I mean, heck, it's a lot of company trucks too, as well. It's not just the owner operator that struggle with some of that newer technology. It's still not, everybody still doesn't have it, although you do see it. It's becoming more and more prevalent in the industry. Hey, the owner operators, what do you see the big difference in the compliance aspect? Why do they need you as opposed to if they were leased on to another carrier or a small owner operator that maybe, that's leased on to another company running under their authority?
So with contracting or working for a major carrier, they tend to have big safety departments. They invest thousands, if not millions of dollars into their safety departments. And they can help, and they have their own compliance people. They have their own safety. Smaller carriers don't get that opportunity. They can't afford that. And they need somebody on their side who can help make sure that the documents are turned in on time, that they are having a safety plan put in place, ensure that they can pass their DOT audits every year. And that's what I offer for the smaller guys so that they can compete with the major carriers and not get hit with compliance.
Yeah, when you think about what you're saying there, that smaller carrier, the independent contractor or the fleet guy that's got 3 or 4 or 5 trucks, that business, oftentimes the owner is also that safety consultant, is also the dispatcher, is all in one. Talk to me about that, because there's a lot of inherent dangers, risk when the safety person is also the owner, is also the dispatcher. Talk to me a little bit about that when you're talking to the owner operator with the smaller fleet.
Yeah, a lot of them, they're worried about making the money. They're worried about getting their freight delivered on time. And they may overlook a small mechanical issue something that they feel like is minor, they can take care of later. They could overlook something like not having your ELD card in the truck to prove that, to have the instructions on how to work the ELD card or the ELD. There's all kinds of things that go into running the company, and they need to focus on making sure that their company is profitable. I want to make sure that their company is safe and is able to keep running.
I think I like the idea, and I think that's what Rick was alluding to, that there's a different voice in there, because if one voice is worried about money, then the other voice is not worried about nearest safety. And when you have you coming in there and stepping in and say, hey, now wait a minute, that I understand you want to get there, but at the same time, we want to get there safely. I do appreciate. So when you talk, and I appreciate how that second voice. What does some of that training look like? I mean, how do you go through the first training process when you walk into a new company?
First thing I want to do is I'll go and will review, take a look through one of the trucks, see I'll do a pre-trip on the truck, see what's going on with the equipment. I'll look through the documents, the logbook, all of the documents, company documents related to safety and compliance. Anything that they'll let me go through so that I can help them. Then I will put together a program for them. It varies based on what they need. Typically, I get a lot of my knowledge from the J.J. Keller. They are an awesome company. I've learned a lot from them. So I will use stuff from their training material to help out with help these new companies.
When it comes to certain issues in the trucking industry, one big one has always been the usage of personal conveyance. You know, a lot of times when we get owner-operators in, you know, or even just drivers in, they'll even rename it to personal convenience, right? I mean, talk to me about personal conveyance. You know, what's your thoughts to the independent contractor, the small business owner out there, and how they use personal conveyance?
So, personal conveyance is a tool that we have, and it allows us as drivers to be able to drop our trailer and go to Walmart, go wherever we need to go for personal reasons. As long as we're not going in the direction of the load or something for a company business, then I don't see a problem with using personal conveyance.
Yes, and I think where it gets sticky at is when you're running out of hours, right? And you can't just then decide to go on personal conveyance, drive another 300 miles towards your area. That becomes personal convenience.
Yes, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen.
Absolutely. It becomes, yeah, and then all of a sudden, well, it's just a re-way to look at your logbook. I mean, it's a totally different deal, and I hope we continue to do that.
Hey, what about the data? So I'm going to go into this because a lot of your information from the fleets, it comes from data, right? You know, first of all, the electronic log has to be used. Does it talk? You know, who's looking at the electronic log, you know, from those companies? I mean, what methods do they have today, or what are you doing to really show them to look at their, you know, the system, you know, their computers on that data that says how many hours this driver is gonna have right now, how many they have left right now. Their load may deliver in 8 hours, but if they only have 5, it's impossible to deliver that load. Do you show them how to use their own systems?
As long as one of them I've used before, yeah. There are a few companies who use e-logs that I've never seen before, and I barely know how to work those systems. So, but no, I will go through them. I'll go through with them, help them keep track of the driver's hours, and help them get it submitted to their insurance provider because they need to get that insurance cost lower. And if they're not running in compliance, that insurance cost isn't going to lower down any.
What's the biggest pushback you get? I'm just curious. I mean, a lot of the times when you're in training somebody, sometimes you get pushback. What's the biggest pushback you get from the companies you go into or the people that you talk to?
It's typically going to be anything that has to do with money. They don't want to spend any more money than they absolutely have to. It's hard to get them to invest in safety because they don't feel like they can see the return.
Yeah, it's a tough place to get that return on. You know, it sometimes can take 3 years before you to get that return on investment because you got to have a certain path, you know, for the insurance company to know that you're safe today. And safe today means you have a history, 3 to 5 years of being safe. But it is something, and I say, love what you're doing. Again, we've got to continue to work towards being safe, that downtime. And again, just when you get into an accident, you know, the repair time, the truck's not there now, you have to rent a truck if you can find a truck, so many things. One more thing I do want to talk about, though, is the hiring criteria. You know, what is your advice to the small fleet on hiring criteria? Because that becomes an issue when you have a truck sitting.
Yeah. So when it comes to hiring criteria, it depends on what you want. If you just want to throw somebody in the truck, it's going to end up costing you a lot more. My recommendation would be find somebody with 2 years of safe driving, somebody reliable. But in order to get somebody like that in today's market, you're going to have to pay more for it. And a lot of companies aren't willing to do that. They want the cheaper option. So that kind of hurts them in the long run too, because they're going to get a newer driver who doesn't care about their equipment. They're going to run their equipment into the ground. They're going to quit, and you're still going to have your insurance likely to go up. So when it comes down to hiring, I really recommend finding people who are going to be a safe driver for you and pay them a good wage. Pay them well enough to keep them, because if not, they're just going to quit on you again. And we have too high of a turnover rate in this industry, which is a proven factor.
Yeah, I'm going to agree 100%. Again, we don't want to hire our problems. And for the smaller fleet, for any fleet out there, you know, our advice remains the same is, you know what? Set your standards to someone that is that's safe and can maintain a truck and drive it safe no matter what. Don't get desperate enough just to put a body in the truck. Never do that. It will always come back and bite you. And again, when that accident happens from that driver, and maybe you don't get one, but if it does happen, understand you've really just kind of, you know, changed your insurance rates, possibly the premiums for the next 3 years. It is a cost-saving thing. I'm going to encourage each and every one of you, the smaller folks. Listen, if you're in Oklahoma, we want to make sure we can get a hold of Alex up there. Hey, what are the best ways for them to get a hold of you?
Right now, I don't have a website up yet. I was hoping to have one up before the show, but unfortunately, I didn't get it up. So LinkedIn would be one good way to get a hold of me. If not, it's larson.decfreightsolution@gmail.com.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. And one thing we always ask our guests to do, Alex, before they leave, we always ask them to state their name, who they're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that for us?
Yes, sir. My name's Alex Larson. I'm with DEC Freight Solutions, and we're on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Alex, appreciate you, buddy. Hey, keep it up. Stay safe out there. And you know what? Stay diligent in what you're doing. What you're doing is important to our industry. Thank you for doing what you do, buddy.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Alex.
All right. We had Alex there, Drive Safe Dave. Again,
Brother in safety.
Brother in safety out there trying to make a difference, trying to save lives. Love what he had to say. Love his approach. And him talking to the independent contractors, the smaller carriers, it's critical because I agree, Dave, is that at the end of the day, that owner is typically the driver. It can be the dispatcher. It can be all of that. It's hard to be an operations person and also a safety person, right? It's hard to kind of balance the two.
I got to get the load.
Yes.
And I know it's snowing. You got to have two.
You
got to have two voices.
All of those things. It is tough. Use somebody else always, unless you have split personalities. Then you can go that. Hey, I'm good with that, baby. I can do that all day. Hey, coming up next, we have Double Check Dale. A little bit of weather for us, talking heat, and probably no rain. All next on BCB Live, safest station in the nation.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, that safest station in the nation. Double Check Dale here to talk a little bit of weather and safety, and maybe go over some videos. Let's start with the weather. Hey, let's just start with some winds. Let's go over to the wind gusts and everything. Take a look. Pretty calm currently across the United States. No major areas of major winds or gusts going on. And that's going to be pretty much throughout the day. You know, we get into the afternoon, we do see out in Utah and Idaho, maybe in western Wyoming, Nevada, the winds pick up a little bit. Areas of stronger winds in Kansas. But the gust just isn't there. Just, you know, just some stronger winds with no major gusts. This evening around 7 o'clock, you know, that southern part of Wyoming is going to see some major winds, or the winds will pick up a little bit with some stronger gusts in that area. But overall today, it's really going to be a pretty calm day as far as winds go. No major gusts going on anywhere that we're seeing at the moment. Let's take a look at some rain and thunder. And again, not a lot going on. You know, Sir Rick said something about heat. That's probably the major weather maker right now. We look at the thunderstorms or rain chances going on currently. Just not a lot happening. Georgia's seeing a little bit of a shower, maybe a shower out there in eastern Tennessee. Northern Michigan maybe getting wet, but nothing major going on. As we scoot into the afternoon, you know, we do see some action down in the Gulf Coast area. Atlantic Coast states are picking up some rain and see some thunderstorms there in the Carolinas, northern Alabama, Mississippi. Florida, of course, is going to see some rain. Some of them storms are going to see a lot of lightning, but no major storms are predicted there with the tornadoes or the heavy winds. As we go into the evening hours, there is a little bit of a storm there along Virginia Beach up there. You know, it looks a little like could get some major winds with that, maybe a tornado or two, but nothing major. Southern Gulf Coast states, again, going to see a lot of rain or a chance for a lot of rain. But none of those storms look major. Again, Florida, South Florida is going to see a little bit of rain, some thunderstorms, but not seeing anything that looks really dangerous out there. As we go in the 10 o'clock hour, you know, the southern Gulf Coast states, Alabama, Mississippi, seeing some rain. And then into the overnight hours, South Carolina, the coastal area, has a thunderstorm pop up there. But folks, just not a lot going on with precipitation. Heat-wise, you know, it is a broken record right now. We are seeing a lot of hot weather, especially here in the central United States, and it goes up. You know, let's just kick it ahead to about 3 o'clock this afternoon. You know, we're seeing a lot of 100-degree temperatures here in Texas, and the heat goes up through Oklahoma, Kansas, into Nebraska. And the humidity's really picked up a little bit down here. There is heat advisory for most of the state of Texas this afternoon. A lot of those heat advisories run until 8 or 9 o'clock. You know, so it's showing Dallas 103, but with the heat index, you know, we could see feels more like 109, 110. And so it's the humidity that's starting to affect us. So folks, we really got to pay attention to that. I know it's a broken record, but it's about your safety. It's about making sure that you feel good, that you stay hydrated, that you don't overexert yourself. So, you know, when you get behind that wheel, you're not fatigued or stressed or not feeling well, maybe a little dizzy. So, you know, take it easy out there. Get plenty of water, stay hydrated, be aware of those hot temperatures. I mean, you know, Phoenix 107, and tomorrow, you know, we're going to see more of the same. This is just going to continue on. You know, tomorrow afternoon, not quite as hot, maybe only 100, 104, 102 tomorrow in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But this is just going to continue on. So we just got to get into that mindset that we got to slow it down a little bit, take it easy, not overexert ourselves. With that, let's take a short break and come back and talk some safety.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety. One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high quality, ANSI certified, high visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
And we're back at BCB Live, the safest station in the nation, joined with somebody that really validates this safety station, and that's none other than Double Check Dale, making sure you get your safety news every day.
Hey, you know, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and to talk safety with you guys. This week we're talking about intersection safety, you know, and it's about the things that we talk about every day when we look at the videos and stuff, you know, noticing your surroundings. Don't use speed through those intersections. Today we're going to talk about keeping your distance. I mean, don't follow a vehicle into the intersection too closely. If they stop or an accident happens, you need to have that out. Same thing goes when you go to stop. You know, we talk about a lot of times when we pull up to that stop sign or that stoplight that we see the concrete between the vehicle in front of us. That gives us our out. You always want to leave yourself an out. So don't get too close when you pull up there and stop. And that buffer can make a difference, you know, in a couple different ways. If the accident happens in front of you, you can get out and around it. If it happens behind you, somebody rear ends you and you have that space, you know, won't go into the vehicle in front of you. So that space, the distance that we talk about every day is always so important, whether you're moving or whether you're stopped.
Hey, for the 16-foot Isuzu bobtail that's watching the show today, that's windshield is like right here. Is it? I mean, does that allow them to get closer, or should they still have more room? Because like the concrete's right here.
They should probably still allow themselves a little bit of room between their good points for Rick. Good point. Always have that.
You never know who's watching the show. We have a big bobtail contingency that watches the 16-footers big time on the show.
They're called those cab overs, you know.
Straight. You know what? As an ex, 16-footer. We call it that with little turbocharge. We're our own little group. You're not part of my, I don't try to get part of your thing. Don't you dare try to be part of my 16-foot box truck thing. You know, that's our own little gang.
Okay.
Nobody messed with us either.
Is that nobody would?
Let me tell you, that turbo, did it even do anything? Or was it just a button?
It was just there to make you feel better. It's like the door closing button usually doesn't even work on an elevator. It's just there to make you feel better.
All right. Hey, I know we have some videos today, right?
We do.
Let's go. Here's video number one.
But he's never lived through something like this. Of the more than 1,200 acres that make up his farm, more than 600, half
I
is left
apologize.
fallow.
We have a video on right now about a drought, little comedy for Drive Safe Dave to start this show. Next video. Dude.
Wow, dude. Why is that funny? That's not humorous.
I'm agreeing with you, but I was trying to think, why would you think that's funny?
I don't have you ever okay, first of all, no one mentioned farmer. And you can be funny. Have you ever watched somebody walk across hot concrete barefooted? Sometimes it can be funny.
Oh, all right. I don't know how that talks about the farmer.
But it does talk about how hot it is outside.
Or the field.
Or the field. I know, right? I don't even know what he's talking about now. Let's go to some videos here. Video number one.
We got Forerunner running red.
You know, with the great job by the driver in this one. Situational awareness. Intersections are dangerous. he's coming up to a green light here. Go make that left turn and look at that car just come right through that red light. That's why it's so important. You know, the other day we talked about know your surroundings, look at it and stuff.
Intersections are dangerous.
Yeah.
Period. They're just dangerous. You've gotta, when you approach, and we're not asking you to stop on a green light. We are asking you to look though. Just look at your surroundings, see what's coming on. You know, make sure that you don't see any craziness like this right here. Just as you know what, this person doesn't even slow down. It's like they.
He made that choice. He goes, you know, I think I can beat that one. You know, it just in
on a red. It's not even.
It was red for a while. Without doubt.
He was already in the red.
Yeah, it's a red stuff. This is green this way. It's a protected turn, but then it becomes protected at the end of this video. But it's not protected for the guy coming from the left.
I feel like he got into the intersection, was probably distracted. He got into that area, Dave, area no return, and gunned it. Watch this little thing. He goes, oh crap. Guns at distractions as well.
And that white pickup probably blocked his view a little bit, probably lost sight of what was coming down a little bit, got alongside that white pickup, really couldn't see and said, what the heck, going for it, and he did. Just intersections are dangerous.
Here's never a U-turn.
I don't even want to see this.
You know, and I don't really like showing it because this is just something that you never, ever.
There's no chance that this driver's going to make a U. They're going to turn left.
Yeah,
here.
that's.
They're going to the Sonic and.
Yeah, go down there, and when we turn around, tractor trailer, just not.
Show it one more time. Go back and show that. And Dave Dover, I'm going to start with you on this one right here. All right, why is this so dangerous? I don't see a no U-turn sign here.
One of the reasons this is dangerous is unprotected. I mean, you're turning around, you're putting your side view in the flow of traffic. It doesn't matter if it's a highway, a street, or anything like that. You're exposing the side of the truck to traffic, and therefore you're endangering everybody because so many bad accidents happen.
All right, so let's talk about that. And when you get here, I'm going to tell you when to stop this, producer, so just let it go here for a second. So, Dale, I'm going to come to you now on this. Going off of what David said, we're making the turn right here.
Yep.
Pause it. All right, in the road right now is a trailer. How easy is that trailer to see from a car that's coming down that's going at 65 miles an hour?
It's not easy to see at all. I mean, that's part of the reason they made that conspicuously tape. But because you see that big white thing, and it blends in with the surroundings, and so it's not, especially if you're distracted or the car's distracted, not paying. You are blocking a lot of lanes right here. You are just no outs for those vehicles.
No outs at all. And again, if somebody's coming this way, man, the chances stop it again. Dave, what we're getting ready to see next is a car that was also behind us that may be making a left-hand turn. Is there any danger with that vehicle? If that vehicle thinks that we're going to make a left and it just kind of flows through, is there any danger with that vehicle?
Yeah, you got to be really careful.
Hit play, producer.
But you got to be really careful. Tail swing is also important to make sure
right there.
Tail swing is also important. Also, when you cut a trailer like that, I'm not sure where the tandems are at this point, but you can also that can also cut back into that vehicle.
Wow.
There are so much on that tail swing that has to be judged and be careful of. Why couldn't you just go down and do 3 turns?
Yes.
You know, 2 more lefts and you would be back at the same exact position you were at. You just got to understand that U-turns create a danger. They're not good. Flipping it in the middle of an intersection is by far one of the most dangerous things you can do. A lot of fatalities occur when guys do this right here.
Agree. Yes, it's a bad move all the way around. Dave, you talk about turning around. We see trucks over there just on this other side here. If you keep going, you make a left, go down this road, you keep going, you find another way. Dale, I mean, at the end of the day, we just have to keep going, or we have to make a left. You've got to find somewhere else to make that turn, right?
And I'm just going to say, if you look a little bit ahead, you see trucks up here in the parking lot. You see them there. There's an entrance and an egress available to you. Look at your surroundings and understand where you're at. You'll notice the egress out there on that side where the trucks are, and you have an ingress up here. You've got to give yourself an out.
Yeah, the risk you're taking here for the very little time you're saving just is not worth it. We got to do the safe thing. And like they say, go down, turn left a couple times, and you're right back in the same situation. We're big in this picture trucks down there where they can get in and out, even on the other side of the road, on the right-hand side.
You missed your turn earlier, right? Maybe, perhaps you made a wrong turn.
you
So
missed-
what?
it
right?
happened,
So
yeah.
what? You just have to really believe, so what? Go to the next one and make a safe thing. We see it in cars, though, Dave. We see it in the big trucks. When one mistake happens, oftentimes we make another mistake to try to get back on time, to try to get back on schedule, whatever that is. We do it in the four-wheelers. We do it in the big trucks. It's a mentality that we've got to change that says, hold on a second. Let me just go down. It doesn't matter. Life is the most important thing. Nothing I do right now is safe. There's nothing safe about this.
Yeah, and if your Garmin's telling you make a U-turn, don't listen to your Garmin in this thing. That Garmin
That's
is not
another
telling you
great
the
point,
thing.
right?
Just,
That's a great point. That Garmin, that Ram McNally,
They're not truck drivers.
that whatever you're using, it may think you're in a car.
yeah.
Yep.
Don't,
Know what to do on that, and your experience and
Your
your
professionalism.
professionalism, your desire to be safe has got to say, I cannot make a Yui right here. Dale, I'm going to say this. When we talk about these things in orientation, do you think we spend time on this, or is that just one of those things that sometimes we just assume they know how to, they know not to make a UE? Do we talk about this in particular?
Probably not in particular, because they come to us professional drivers. That 2 years of experience, they know the rules of the roads. They know. I can't think of a trucking company out there that says, hey, it's okay to make a U-turn in the middle of the intersection.
But you never know.
But you never know.
Yeah, I want to say this
Yeah.
to any trucking company out there. Don't take for granted that they know maybe nobody's ever told them no.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, and this is an intersection, and it's great that we're bringing up this topic. I'm going to tell you right now, and I want this to be heated 100%. Never, ever, for any reason whatsoever, in a big truck, turn on a highway in the middle, and never put your sail on a highway where they're doing 60 miles an hour. It's too soon. It's too dangerous. If they're not paying attention, you will kill somebody.
Yes.
I'm just saying, don't ever, for any reason, do a U-turn on a highway. I don't care how much room there is. I don't care if you don't think anybody's coming. Go up and turn around, up at an intersection. Go find a way to turn around. Never, ever out there on an urban road, out there on a state highway, out there on a highway out away from the city, in the city, it doesn't matter. Never do a U-turn on a highway. It almost always ends in a fatality if there's a wreck.
For sure. Next video. Great point, Dave.
Next video we got is called No Outs.
Here's one of those following distance where we have to leave our outs. We're under a second or right at a second following distance. Jersey walls, narrow lanes. Hey, just back off and get that space. Get away from the chaos. So if something happens, that car biffs a wall. And I've seen cars hit that Jersey wall and come over. You don't have the room to react. And so you got to create that space. Just slow down a couple seconds. Get the space. The speed is good, but we are in a construction zone, so we should be going slower anyway. Solid white line. We're not supposed to be crossing any lanes there. Just have to back off and create that space.
Yeah, the good news about this lane, and as you're watching, you got to have a little bit of comfort and knowledge that nobody's going to be cutting over in front of you. So back off. You're gonna have that cushion available to you without worry of people breaking in front of you. I mean, they may or may not, but that solid white line says stay in your lane, and you can back off a little bit without worrying about it.
Yeah, and as long as you're going forward, you're not losing time.
Absolutely, you're gaining.
As long as
distance.
you're going forward, you're always gaining distance. So you've got to understand, believe, back off a little bit right now. Give yourself the needed space.
Where are you going?
Because you're not losing anything at all. Next video.
Next video we got is called Reacting Safely.
Coming up to the intersection again, and they're dangerous, right? Boom.
Yeah.
Look at that. Just crazy out there. And the car backs up, but I mean, good situational awareness, being at a speed where we can react safely, get stopped. Truck comes to a complete stop there. So great job by the driver in this one, but just again, folks, how dangerous are intersections?
Again, the intersection's extremely dangerous. Great video. I love this video right here.
This is a
You think
fantastic-
about this. If that car's not there, if that car doesn't pass us on the left there, this car's going. He's made his mind up that I'm going to go. He saw the big truck, and I'm going to sneak in front of this big truck. For whatever reason, that car goes around, he stops, backs up. man alive, you just have to keep your eyes open. This is not a good decision as a car, right? Whoever's driving the four-wheeler, not a good decision. Practice your patience. The big truck, great job in looking up ahead, maintaining your speed, waiting for something crazy to happen, and being able to stop to prevent. It wouldn't have been your fault, but you prevented it, and that is critical.
Yeah.
It's about saving lives, and I'll tell you right here, this was an excellent job by the driver of the truck in this respect. I think this is a fantastic job in being able to stop in a timely manner, and look how far away he's able to stop. I mean, this isn't even close. Yeah. This is just a great job of being aware of the surrounding and what's going on. Yeah, this driver right here knew instantly he had done wrong and was already trying to back up.
And we talk about the speed here, so we think, okay, what if the truck is going faster, isn't paying attention, is involved in an accident? Now he's lost every minute that he thinks he's gained by going a little bit faster during the day because he's had an accident. Just goes again to show you don't lose the time that you think you're losing when you slow down and operate at that same speed.
Phenomenal video. Love the speed, love the space, love the reaction, love the way you entered into that intersection. Boy, this is a phenomenal video. Drive safe.
It's a good video.
We got one more video today, and it's called 0.8 throughout.
You know, this is a following distance thing again, and it just goes to show what it is by now there's probably some in-cab coaching going on, and the driver has to be listening to that, taking that action, because when we don't take action, you know, we sit in the same situation. We don't improve our situation, and to be the safest driver out there, we always want to take a look at the situation we're in, improve it to where we're in a safer situation, and just need to back off there.
Yeah, and again, if you're getting that in-cab coaching, what we know here is that right when it hits that red mark, and you see the red mark on the screen, that's when the in-cab coaching has begun. Now, it begins at that point, and understand that it's already been 15 seconds when you've been following too close for 15 seconds. At that 15-second mark, that red line shows up. That's when the coaching begins to happen to that driver in that truck you see right here. Now, what we want to see happen from all of you out there, we want you to know the habits before it gets to 15 seconds. But after that coaching happens, after that you get that nudge, you get that little voice whispering to you saying, hey, you're too close, we want to see the reaction time. So right here, we got you at 1.1. You've already been told and reminded you're following too close. You need to, at that moment at least, back it off and get back within the proper following distance. In time, you're going to recognize that before it gets to 15 seconds. That's when we really want it to see. But you've got to understand these tools that you have today. And again, we don't know who this is out there driving, but we understand this technology that we're looking at. At 15 seconds, when it gets to the red, you've been following too close. It reminds you at that moment you have to back it off. And that doesn't mean it oftentimes means you have to hit your brakes and slow down, readjust your distance, and continue.
Absolutely correct there, Rick. Great videos today.
Man, it's phenomenal videos. Love the technology. Again, you know, going back to what Alex was saying, these videos, this technology, it's really there to make you a safer driver, to make you aware of things that you need to work on. Listen, you know, whether it takes you 28 days or 66 days, we want to make sure that you start today, okay? Create the proper habit today. Make today the safest day that you can, and it starts by listening, right? By understanding the technology that you have and using it, not being afraid, taking your pride and setting it aside, and making sure that you're listening to some of that technology to keep you safe. That's what it's also there for, to get you back home, to get you back to your family, not just those out there on the road, you. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. We ask that you continue to help us get this word out about safety. We ask that you give us that ability to talk and make it be heard about how important it is. We have to give the drivers, our listening audience out there, that ability not only to listen to it, to hear it, but to take it and apply it and make a difference and teach others the value of safety. Thank you for sending your son. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. We'll be in Iowa, Iowa. Is it Iowa or is it Iowa?
It's Iowa at the big I-80 truck stop in
Yes,
Walcott,
sir.
Iowa.
Biggest truck stop in America.
And no potatoes. Okay, it's
No
not Idaho.
papas. Yeah.
No, corn.
Yes, no Idaho's anymore. We'll see you tomorrow morning live from Iowa.